Hi. So, some of you guys are still struggling with CERs, and I totally understand that. It can be a really big concept that is kind of difficult to grasp, or at least, you're trying and just things just aren't clicking right. So, I'm going to try it a little differently. I'm going to add this disclaimer in there. There's a subreddit on Reddit called Explain It Like I'm Five. And so it has some rules about, asking questions and then getting answers and how you explain it to, like I'm five. Except for it's not literally like I'm five. They don't want you to be rude about it. They don't want you to be condescending, but they do want you to, be nice and be objective and that kind of thing. Factual answers. They want you to, do that. But the most important rule here is this rule number 4 in terms of what I'm trying to go with you. Explain it for lay people. What that means is explain it for someone who is not in that industry. So if you're explaining to me that this story compares to that story in this way, explain it like I've never read the stories. Okay. That does not mean completely re summarize the whole thing, but it does mean that you're trying to convey, look, this happened in this story and that happened in this story, and these are the same, but this part's different. And so that's how you want to do that. For those questions that are like in my EDL courses for criminology and women's studies, when I say explain it, for lay people, I really want examples from real world events, if you can find one, or an example that will, uh, even if you make it up, will help explain something. So, for example, in criminology, one of the first questions is, when is a crime not a crime? And so, one of the best examples for a lay person to explain that a crime is not a crime is when you are in an accident and if you hit someone and you kill them, but you stop and you answer the questions from the police and you go over it. Yes, you've technically killed a person, but it's not a crime because it was an accident. So you're giving me an example. You're saying, here's an example of, and you're making it so that you're fully explaining it. Yes, you killed a person. That is a crime, but it's not a crime because it was an accident and you stayed put and spoke to the police and went over the details. So it becomes not a crime. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes better sense. So try explaining it like I'm five, but not like I'm literally five. Try and make it a more meaningful connection. Try and make it so that you're giving me your claim, you're giving me your evidence, but your explanations are giving me a little bit more detail, not just, this explains how this is because it is, or that kind of thing. I want something that's a little bit more substantive, that gives me a little bit more proof that you truly understand the concept. In fact, one of the leading things that's out there, one of the biggest ideas that they say is that the best way to learn something is to have to teach it. So you're teaching me. Teach me the difference between the stories. Teach me what makes a crime not a crime. Teach me what is going on here. Okay, so teach me as if I've never seen it before. Okay, that does not mean that you have to go all the way like I'm 5 years old and, okay, now a crime is. You don't have to do that, but I do want you to put a little bit more into it, including when necessary, creating examples or using examples from real world. Please also try and keep your answers as non-political as possible. Okay, I know there's some stuff going on in the world, and so there's a need to, when you're linking to certain things that are current events, you may want to put in your own personal feelings into that. try not to. And same with comparing stories. Don't say, like, well, this story was stupid because this person did that. No, keep your feelings out of there. Keep subjective feelings. I think this story was dumb. Keep that out of it. Okay. Focus just on the factual information and the examples that you can provide to me in an analytical and and objective fashion. Do not use your subjective emotions in there. Okay. Well, this person was stupid because they did this in the story, or, well, this just proves that, being in love is a rotten emotion. Don't do that. Okay. So sorry, this is a little bit long, but I'm trying to really help with these CERs because some of you are struggling. And so maybe trying to do it with the explain like I'm five will help some of those of you who are struggling a little bit. Again, so you want to go back, be polite, be objective, which means don't put your personal emotions into it, and try and find some real world examples for some of those more factual things. Okay. And so explain it like I've never seen that. I've never heard of that. Explain it to me like I have no idea. Teach me what's going on. Teach me the answer to that question. Teach it to me. Okay. So if you're still struggling, please let me know because I really want to try and make this as good as possible and as understandable as possible to as many people as possible. I hope you're having a good day. Take care. Be safe.